Hi guys, it's Matthew Hitcham here, and I'm the founder at AI Avalanche. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can connect ChatGPT to an email account and allow it to automate processes for you. It's kind of like having your own AI personal assistant. In this example, we're going to create a virtual marketing expert who knows everything about our business and will respond to our emails in just a few minutes. But as you'll see, there are tons of use cases for setting up automation like this. You can have ChatGPT complete tasks for you, write reports. It can really be like having an extra employee that's only accessible via email. But I'm going to stop waffling, and now we can just dive straight into the tutorial. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to need to do in order to set up ChatGPT with an email account is head over to Makecom. Now this is a third-party service and they do have free packages, so you can certainly do this without signing up to a subscription or paying anything. If you want to get more operations per month, and of course if you want to have more features, then you can sign up to one of their paid plans as well. But you get a few thousand free operations with the free plan. So if you're just trialing it out, I would absolutely recommend doing that. So I'm just going to log in, and once we're inside, we're going to click over here in the scenarios tab. And then we're going to create a new scenario. And this is where we're going to connect our email account, we're going to connect our ChatGPT account, and we're going to set up the context and the rules that we're going to apply. There are so many different use cases for connecting ChatGPT to email, and there are so many things that we can do with this. And you can set up multiple email accounts. So one really good idea that you could do with this method is setting up perhaps 4 or 5 experts in a niche. So ask ChatGPT to act as an expert in a specific role, and then you can set up email accounts for that version of ChatGPT. It's like having an employee who's a digital marketing expert that you can email whenever you like, or having an accountant expert or a law expert. You can set them up with their own email addresses and you can email them, and ChatGPT will already be primed and set in that role, which is a lot easier than going into ChatGPT every single time and defining its role and all of this and providing it with that context. You can already have that preset and just, shoot a quick email across and get your response. Of course, ChatGPT can also help you with lots of tasks. So let's say, for example, you have a report that you want tidied up and, shortened and made more concise. Email it over to the ChatGPT bot that we're going to create, and they will fix it for you. Not only that, but you can have them upload it as a Google Doc. You can have them email it back to you. There is just so many scenarios where this can be a really, really helpful tool. So I'm going to quit waffling and we're going to get started. So the way scenarios work is you make connections between one application and another. So the first thing we need to do is assign an email account. We're going to hit the plus button, and then we're going to type email, and that will search for the email application here. And then you select your trigger. So in this case, the trigger is going to be watch emails. So that means that this scenario is going to become active when an email is received. The good thing is we can specify if the email is from a certain person, or you can just have ChatGPT respond to all emails that come into that account. It's really up to you how you want to define this point. Now you do need to connect Make.com to your email. I already have it set up here from a previous scenario I've made. But if you want to set it up, you click Add and you choose your connection type. So you can do an IMAP account. So if you have your own domain and you have your own IMAP email associated with your domain, you can set it up that way. You can also set up Hotmail, Outlook, Yandex, Zoho. You can also set up Gmail accounts on here. But there are additional steps that you can follow by clicking this link here if you want to connect it to a Gmail account. But quite often the simplest thing to do if you want to set up a bot like this is create a new email account just for the purpose of ChatGPT. So you might want to call your email account, I don't know, chatgptmarketing@hotmail.com. So create a Hotmail account or create an account on your server if you run email through your domain. And then that will be your dedicated ChatGPT account for this particular scenario that we're running. So here I already have my email account connected, and then you can choose a folder. So we're going to obviously go ahead and select the inbox here, and then you can specify some criteria. So whether you want it to respond to all emails
whether you want the scenario to trigger, I should say, rather than respond. All emails, only read emails, or only unread emails. In this case, I'm going to put only unread emails. In this box, the sender email address, we can make it so the scenario only triggers if it receives an email from a certain email address. Now, this obviously can be really useful because if you only want it to respond to emails that you send it to, and if you use this email account for other purposes, this is obviously a great way to make sure that ChatGPT doesn't start responding or, completing tasks for people that it shouldn't. So, because I've set this email account up specifically for the purpose of running this ChatGPT bot, I'm going to have it respond to all unread emails, regardless of who sends them. Additionally, you can also filter by subject. So if you only want it to trigger when you have a specific word or a specific selection of words in the subject, that's another way of filtering it. You can do the same with phrases, so a combination of words that will be found inside the body of the email. Now, do you want to mark the message as read once it's been fetched? I usually select yes for this because we have this bot set up to only respond to emails which are unread. So if it marks them as read, then obviously it's not going to complete the task the second time around when it scans the inbox. You don't want it to repeat the same tasks over and over again. So now the email account is set up, we're going to go ahead and click the button here. And it will ask you when you should start. So from now on, or if you want to complete this for emails that are already in the account. In this case, we're just going to choose to start from now on. So right now we've set it up to watch email. So it's looking at the inbox of an email account and it's waiting for its next instruction. So what we need to do now is add another connection. Now what we're going to connect this time is ChatGPT. So we're going to search OpenAI. We're going to click on that, and then we're going to click Create a Completion. Let's get rid of this box. Okay. Again, I've already set up my connection to OpenAI. This is really, really, really easy to do. We can just click, if you need help with this, you can click the online help, and it will show you exactly how you do this. You need to get hold of your API keys from OpenAI. It might sound complicated, but it's extremely easy. You just take an API key and an organization ID, and you copy and paste it inside a connection here. So if we were to click add, you paste in an API key and an organization ID, and that's it. You're hooked up to ChatGPT. Once you're all hooked up with ChatGPT, we're going to select the model of ChatGPT that we want to use. If you want to get a rundown of which model is best at what, then obviously you can go to the OpenAI website and they have all of that information. But I use 3.5 Turbo for pretty much every single task when it comes to using the API like this. Now we have a really important part coming up. This is the messages section. Now this is where we're going to define what we want, how we want ChatGPT to respond to emails that it's going to receive via this email account. So we need to click this add item button. In this section here that says role, you can see we have three options: system, user, and assistant. Now the system role is where we're going to define the role that we want ChatGPT to undertake for this process. So this is like giving ChatGPT context and instructions as to what you want it to do with the prompt or the email that it receives. So every time you send an email to this email account, or every time an email is received to this email account, the content of that email will be sent to ChatGPT. Okay, now that is the user message. So what is sent from the email account, or what is read from the email account by ChatGPT, that's the user message. That's what you would do if you were to open ChatGPT and start writing prompts and talking to ChatGPT. Those are user messages because you are the one using ChatGPT. The system message here, the system role, is kind of a behind the scenes context that you provide to ChatGPT. And I'm going to show you how we're going to use that in a moment. And finally, this last role is the assistant, and these are the responses that ChatGPT gives you. So ChatGPT is the assistant, you are the user, and the system role is the context. So we're going to hit system. And in this box here is where we're going to define the job of ChatGPT. We're going to get lots of variables pop up here, but we're not actually going to use any of those in this part. We're just going to define a role for ChatGPT. So we're going to set them up as an expert digital marketer who knows about our business, and whenever we send an email to this account, ChatGPT will respond in that role. So to start with, I've copied and pasted some information about my business to give it some context. I'm going to paste that in this link here. Now, this summary of my business was actually generated by ChatGPT. I had a chat and I asked it to ask me 20 or 30 questions about my business and about my customers, and to summarize it into a few paragraphs. So this is ChatGPT's summary of my business and what we sell. But at the bottom, I also want to make sure that ChatGPT is aware of the role that we want it to play when accessing emails on this account. So you should act in the role of an expert digital marketer. You are the head of the marketing department for this organization. You will answer any questions as clearly and concisely as you can, and try to give actionable and helpful advice. Now, as I was saying earlier about there being so many different use cases for setting up an email bot version of ChatGPT, we can have here, as I said, an expert accountant, a marketer, we could have a business strategist. If you want to set up a copywriter, you can do all of those things and have them just on hand at email, predefined in their roles. And now we have to set up the user role here. So as I said earlier, the user is the person asking the questions to ChatGPT. So we're going to click user, and the message content, so the prompt that ChatGPT is working on, is going to be over here in the email, and we're going to select here text content. Now what this is saying is that the text content of the email from the email account is going to be the question that we ask ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will respond as per this system role we've assigned it above. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. So now we've connected our email and we have ChatGPT monitoring the email account. Now the last thing we want to do is decide exactly what's going to happen next. So do you want ChatGPT to email you back, or do you want ChatGPT to upload its response to a Google Doc? It's totally up to you what connection you want it to make next. For the purpose of this example, I'm going to go ahead and have it respond to me via email. So I'm just going to add another module here, and we're going to click email again. Now, of course, if you wanted to do Google Docs, you could just type in Google Docs and connect your Google Drive account and specify a sheet or a Google Doc where you want it to send the message to. But in this case, as I said, we're doing email. So we select email and send an email. We're going to retain the same connection that we've been using before. If you want it to save the message in the sent folders, you can select yes. I'm not really too bothered, as obviously we're going to receive them anyway. And then the to address, so you have to add a recipient. What we're going to do is we're going to be emailing back the person that emailed the account. So we're going to click in this box, and we're going to go over here on the right, and we're going to find the sender email address. We'll just click that, and it's going to pop in there. So whoever emails this account will be emailed back the response from ChatGPT. Now you can pop in a static subject for the email. So I'm going to put your marketer's response. You can choose the content type, so whether you want it to be HTML or just text. And now we're going to define the content of the email. So we click in this box and we select, this is the ChatGPT section here at the top in green. We're going to click their choices, and then we're going to click message, and it is this content that we want. Now there are some advanced settings you can play with if you want to. In this case I'm not going to bother, but you can set up a custom sender email address, an email address that will appear on the sender field, a reply to address. You can send attachments in here as well. You can change headers, change the priority. All of this stuff is not really necessary for this particular use case, so I'm just going to leave it as, and we're going to click OK. Now that is already set up now. The only thing that's left to do is to choose the scheduling. So how often do you want ChatGPT to look for a new email inside the email folder? I'm going to set it up here as every 15 minutes. Obviously you can change this. It can be every day. It can be certain days of the week, on demand. Just be aware that the more often you have it complete these tasks, the more tasks you're going to use in Make.com, and then you may have to upgrade to a paid account. We're going to leave it here at 15 minutes. We're going to click OK. So now we're going to save the scenario. We're just going to go down here and click the save button, and then we're going to turn it on. Now this is up and running. So what do? We're going to do a test, okay? So we're going to hop into the email. Okay, so here's the email I have prepared. I'm sending it to this email address. This is the account where I connected ChatGPT. And the email, as you can see, says, "Hi, I have 2 problems I need help with. I have a video ad which is performing well, but I want to know if it's performing better on Reels or Stories. How can I analyze this data inside Facebook Ads Manager? Also, can you suggest 5 new ad headlines for my ChatGPT Blackmagic guide? They should each contain a maximum of 5 words." So we're going to go ahead and send this email. A few minutes later, we've just received our response. You can ignore the name Hugo Sausage here. This was a name that I assigned. If you watch anything on my TikTok channel, we set up an email bot a bit like this with a character who would respond to all emails and turn the narrative into a chat about sausages. It was a test we were doing, so you can ignore the name, and let's actually look at the content of the email he has sent us, which is actually really good. The only downside to this response, I think, is the formatting, but if we were to select HTML emails and then also ask ChatGPT to make sure it puts in appropriate breaks in the text, it would have come out a lot nicer. So let's have a look at the email. So it says, "Hi Matthew, to analyze the performance of your video ad on Reels and Stories inside Facebook Ads Manager, you can follow these steps." Then it gives us here the complete guide, the step-by-step guide as to how to actually do that. So Facebook Ads Manager, Campaigns tab, select the breakdown button. From the drop-down, select placement and device. Click the performance for the Reels and Stories to see how your video ad is performing on each placement. Okay, that's answered that question perfectly. And then the headlines for the ads that we were asking. Obviously, ChatGPT knows exactly who we are and all about our product because we defined that in the system role. So it said we should try unlock AI's full potential, master ChatGPT with ease, AI-powered Blackmagic methods, boost your productivity with ChatGPT, and accelerate your AI journey. It says, "I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any further questions." Okay, so we have just employed a marketing expert that costs us potentially no money at all, depending on how much we use him. But if we use him all of the time, it's still going to be extremely inexpensive. So think about the things that could do for your business. Of course, you could have him send all suggestions to Google Docs, as we said, connect it to essentially any other app that you want. This is just one simple example of an automation that we can achieve using the API of ChatGPT, as well as a third-party service such as Make.com. Now, if you did find this interesting, I do suggest you check out our ChatGPT Blackmagic guide. While there's not specifically anything with automation in it at the time of speaking, it does have lots of really interesting and in-depth prompts as well as video tutorials. So it's well worth a look. It should be floating around somewhere near this video if you want to check it out. And if not, no worries. Thanks for joining me, and I really hope that you learned something useful.